Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be exploring a topic that's generating a lot of buzz in the fitness and bodybuilding world,
Yeah.
SARMs, and particularly how they're being used for bulking up.
Right.
Now we've got some source material that dives deep into the science, the supposed benefits, and of course the risks and even the legal stuff surrounding these compounds.
Yeah, and it can get pretty complicated.
It can, and that's why we're here,
Right.
to break it all down.
Yeah.
So before we get into the specifics of SARM stacks for bulking, let's make sure everyone's on the same page.
Yeah.
What exactly are we talking about when we say SARMs?
Good point. So SARM stands for selective androgen receptor modulators.
Okay.
And the key word here is selective. Unlike traditional anabolic steroids, which can affect various tissues throughout the body, SARMs are designed to be more targeted,
Targeted in what way?
primarily targeting receptors in muscle and bone.
I see. So it's like they're designed to zero in on the areas that are most relevant for muscle growth and strength.
Exactly, and that's what makes them so interesting to people looking to bulk up. The idea is to potentially achieve those gains with fewer of the systemic side effects that you might see with traditional steroids.
Okay, so that's the basic idea behind SARMs. Now, the source material we have focuses specifically on SARMed stacks for bulking. What does that mean exactly?
So a stack basically means combining several types of SARMs.
Kind of like creating a custom blend.
Exactly. The idea is that each SARM in the stack contributes to the overall goal of bulking up.
And what specific SARMs are we talking about here?
Well, the stack mentioned in the source includes ostarine, ibutamoren, testolone, and ligandrol. Each one has its own purported mechanism of action.
Okay, so let's break that down a bit. What's the deal with testolone, for instance?
Well, testolone is believed to significantly increase muscle protein synthesis, which is essential for muscle growth.
Got it. So it's like the muscle-building powerhouse of the stack.
You could say that. And then you have ostarine, which is often included for muscle preservation.
Okay, so it helps protect the muscle you already have.
Right. And then there's ibutamoren, which is thought to boost growth hormone levels and aid in recovery.
So it's all about optimizing those recovery processes.
Exactly. And finally, ligandrol is added to the mix to contribute to both muscle and bone growth.
Wow. So it's like each SARM has its own specific role to play in the grand scheme of bulking up.
Precisely.
And all of this sounds incredibly appealing, right?
Uh-uh.
Rapid muscle gain, increased strength, faster recovery, even fat loss, while preserving lean muscle. Who wouldn't want that?
Right. It's a very attractive proposition, especially for anyone serious about transforming their physique.
And the source even claims that this particular stack is designed to replicate the effects of traditional steroids, but it's marketed as a legal and safer alternative.
Yeah, that's a key point. And it's important to approach these claims with a critical eye.
Because while the source highlights these potential benefits, it also stresses that we're still in the early stages of understanding SARMs.
Exactly. The long-term safety of SARMs is a big unknown.
A big unknown. And that's where things start to get a little complicated. Because despite the marketing and the testimonials, the source does list several potential risks associated with SARMs. Use things like testosterone suppression, liver toxicity, particularly with oral SARMs, and even potential cardiovascular problems.
Right. It's not a risk-free endeavor.
Definitely not. And that's why the source stresses the importance of proper dosing and cycling. It's not just about popping a pill and expecting miracles. It's about understanding how these compounds interact with the body and minimizing those risks as much as possible.
Absolutely. A careful and informed approach is crucial.
And even with careful use, there's still the issue of post-cycle therapy, or PCT. The source mentions that after a SARM cycle, PCT is often recommended to help the body recover and restore those natural hormone levels.
Right, because using SARMs can disrupt the body's natural hormone production.
So it's not as simple as taking SARMs for a while and then just stopping. There are additional steps to consider. And speaking of complexities, let's not forget the whole legal gray area surrounding SARMs. While some companies might market them as dietary supplements, the truth is much more nuanced.
That's really.
The source points out that many countries, including the United States, SARMs are not approved for human consumption. They're considered research chemicals. And they're even banned by major sports organizations like WADA.
That's right.
So there's a real disconnect between how some companies are marketing these products and the actual legal and regulatory landscape.
It's a crucial point, and it's something to be very aware of.
For sure. So we've covered a lot of ground already, from the specific compounds in a stack to the potential benefits and risks and the legal complexities, but we've only just scratched the surface. And if you are interested in more topics like this, you can visit our website, publichealthlaw.net.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential allure of SARMs for bulking, but as we've seen, it's not quite as straightforward as some of the marketing might suggest.
Definitely not. There's a lot more to consider. Yeah, it's not just about the potential gains. It's about weighing those potential benefits against the unknowns. And that's where critical thinking comes in.
Absolutely. We need to look beyond those marketing claims and the anecdotal evidence and really examine the science or sometimes the lack thereof.
Right, because a lot of the information circulating about SARMs comes from user testimonials and online forums. And while those personal experiences can be interesting, they're not exactly a substitute for rigorous scientific research.
Exactly. What works for one person might not work for another. And those testimonials often lack the context to really make informed decisions about the potential risks and the long-term consequences.
The source does mention that research on the long-term effects of SARMs is ongoing, but we're still very much in the data gathering phase.
Right. It's like exploring uncharted territory without a complete map.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And one of the key concerns highlighted in the source is the potential for hormonal disruption. We already touched on testosterone suppression, but the implications go beyond that.
Absolutely. SARMs can disrupt that delicate balance of hormones in the body. And those imbalances can have cascading effects on everything, from mood and energy levels to fertility and overall health.
So it's not just about building muscle. It's about the potential impact on your whole endocrine system.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why the source really emphasizes the importance of consulting with qualified healthcare professionals before even considering using SARMs.
Yeah, it's not something to be taken lightly or experimented with on your own.
Definitely not.
The source also points out that SARMs are often compared to other supplements, like creatine protein powders, pre-workout formulas. These are all popular in the fitness world, but there are some important differences when it comes to research and regulation.
Right. Those other supplements have a much longer history of use and research, so we have a better understanding of their safety profiles and potential side effects.
Whereas SARMs are relatively new on the scene, and there's still a lot we're learning about their long-term impact.
It's like comparing apples and oranges. They might all be fruits, but their nutritional content and potential effects are vastly different.
And it's not just about the science either, it's also about regulation. The supplement industry as a whole is less strictly regulated than the pharmaceutical industry.
Right. Which means there's more room for variation in quality, dosage, and even ingredients.
So even if a product claims to contain a specific SARM, there's no guarantee that it actually does, or that it's present in the dosage listed on the label. It's buyer beware.
Definitely. Which brings us back to the importance of critical thinking and informed decision-making. If you're considering using any supplement, especially something as potent as a SARM, it's crucial to do your research, consult with healthcare professionals, and be aware of those potential risks.
For sure. Now, the source also delves into the legal landscape surrounding SARMs, which, as we've discussed, is quite complex. But beyond the legalities, there are also ethical considerations, particularly when it comes to the use of SARMs in competitive sports.
Right. That's where the line between performance enhancement and cheating can get a little blurry.
The source mentions that SARMs are banned by WADA, which suggests they're viewed as providing an unfair advantage to athletes.
And it's easy to see why. If SARMs can significantly enhance muscle growth, strength, and recovery, it creates an uneven playing field for athletes who choose not to use them.
Right. It raises questions about fairness, sportsmanship, the integrity of the competition. But these ethical considerations extend beyond the world of professional sports.
You're right, even for recreational athletes or just fitness enthusiasts. There are questions about the authenticity of achievements that are attained with the aid of SARMs. Is it truly a reflection of hard work and dedication? Or is it a shortcut achieved through chemical enhancement?
It's a complex issue with no easy answers. And it speaks to a broader conversation about our society's obsession with achieving results, often at any cost.
Absolutely. And in the quest for those results, it's crucial to consider the potential long-term consequences. Are the short-term gains worth the potential risks to our health and well-being?
That's a question each individual needs to answer for themselves. But before making that decision, it's essential to have all the facts and to approach the issue with a critical, informed perspective. So let's continue this discussion in part 3, where we'll explore the implications of SARMs use and what it all means for you. All right, so we've really gone deep on SARMs now. We've talked about the science, the potential benefits, the risks, and all the legal and ethical stuff surrounding them. It's a lot to take in.
It really is. And it's clear that this isn't a simple black and white issue.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
There are a lot of shades of gray here. And navigating those shades requires some careful consideration and a good dose of skepticism.
I agree.
The source material we have doesn't try to shy away from the uncertainties surrounding SARMs.
Ah,
It acknowledges that we're still really early in understanding these compounds, and their long-term effects are still mostly unknown.
right. That's why it's so important to be critical of any claims you hear about SARMs. Don't just buy into the hype or the anecdotal evidence or the promises of quick results.
It's tempting to think there's some magic pill out there for muscle growth and performance enhancement, but it's just not that simple.
And it can be risky. As we talked about, SARMs can disrupt those hormone levels, and that can lead to a whole bunch of unintended consequences.
For sure. The source also highlights the importance of responsible use if someone does decide to go down this road. Things like proper dosing, cycling, and post-cycle therapy.
Yeah, those are all crucial for trying to minimize the risks. But even then, there are no guarantees.
It's kind of like walking a tightrope.
Yeah,
One wrong step, and there can be some serious consequences.
exactly. And it's a tightrope walk that a lot of people are taking without really understanding those potential dangers.
That's why it's so crucial to have open and honest conversations about SARMs, to separate the facts from the fiction, and to help people make informed decisions about their health and well-being.
Absolutely. It's about weighing the potential benefits against those unknown risks and deciding if those risks are worth taking for you.
The source material we have doesn't give a definitive answer on that, and that's by design. It's about presenting the information, highlighting the complexities, and encouraging people to think critically.
Right. It's about giving you, the listener, the tools to ask the right questions, to find reliable information, and to make choices that align with your values and goals.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of SARMs, what are the key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, first and foremost, remember that SARMs are powerful substances. They have the potential for both benefits and risks. And the research is still ongoing. We're learning more all the time.
Don't be swayed by the marketing hype or the anecdotal evidence. Be skeptical, do your research, and talk to qualified healthcare professionals before you even think about using SARMs.
Right. And remember, there are no shortcuts to achieving your fitness goals. Sustainable progress takes time, effort, and commitment to those healthy habits.
So if you're looking for a magic bullet, SARMs aren't it?
But if you approach this issue with an informed and critical mindset, this deep dive has hopefully given you the knowledge to make responsible choices about your health and fitness.
And if you're looking for more information on health and fitness, remember you can always visit our website, publichealthlaw.net. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of SARMs. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.